to tell me that among the various things we could be upset and angry about, y'all are upset and angry that ViVi has been casted as a brown woman by Chundrum. I apologize if I butchered that. I more than likely did. However, I'm very confused as to why you're upset. Let's look at the source material, shall we? Let's look at the source material, because y'all are like, it's not what Oda was talking about. Oda wasn't making fucking sense. All right? I know we love Oda, but we need to call out some shit when shit don't make fucking sense. You mean to tell me in a world, and you could argue that, well, none of it has to really make sense because we're in a world where pirates exist and gum devil fruit powers exist, and devil fruit powers are a thing. You're right, but it's not going to change the fact that I am going to argue about it. I am. All right? You mean to tell me that a woman who is paler than the back of my hand, or the front of my hand, the back of my hand, the front of my hand. Point is, she's paler than this part of my hand. Correct. She is pale. And she exists in a climate where it's very hot. She exists in a climate where there's nothing but fucking sand. Okay? And you mean to tell me with a straight gosh darn face, you're gonna be like, yeah, she should be white. She should be as white as my goddamn shirt. Because that's literally how white ViVi is in the goddamn comics. Does that make sense to you? I'm gonna be real to you. One Piece has never shown me that they know what sunscreen is. Okay? Or that sunscreen even fucking exists. So, like, you gonna get mad, you're gonna get mad because, like, I don't know, the people in the live action are like, you know what, let's make it a little bit more believable. Let's actually make them look like the areas in which they claim to be from. And ViVi is from a Middle Eastern country. You could argue which Middle Eastern country she's from, but she's from a Middle Eastern country because nothing about what her country does or what the culture in her country represents American culture. Not at all. But what I do see is, like, Middle Eastern influences. You could argue Arabic, things of that nature, like the language and stuff like that I'm assuming that they speak there also is probably, very close to what Arabic is and things of that nature. So getting mad, race switching or race swapping her character, that's what y'all are upset about. Race swapping her character is not that integral to the plot. What about the plot does it change? What about ViVi being brown changes anything that happens in Alabasta? What about anybody in Alabasta? Her daddy, the bodyguards, things of that nature, all of them people, I can't remember their names right now, but you know who the fuck I'm talking about, all right? All of them people, what is them being brown? How does that change the plot? Because y'all are like, it's racist to swap her. She's supposed to be ivory. She's not supposed to be brown. We're supposed to see the brownness of her culture, but we're not supposed to see the fact that she's brown. Oda wasn't making sense. Or Oda was just saying, you know what? It's fictional. It's fantasy. All right? But also, here's the kicker about the reason why all what you're saying is bullshit and why every single one of you needs to shut the fuck up. Why? Because Oda is behind the live action One Piece on Netflix. He's there. He's there, babes. They're talking to him. They're picking up the phone. They're saying, hey, Oda, we were thinking of doing this. And then guess what Oda says? That's a good idea. Guess what they did when they casted ViVi? They said, hey, Oda, hey. Guess what? We just casted somebody we just casted Chunithra. We casted Chunithra for the role of ViVi, and then Oda said, good idea. Good job. I don't know what you're upset about. I'm upset about the fact that Robin isn't black. I don't care what you say, because in the comics, and then you're gonna be like, well, Jasmine, where are you getting Capri? So sorry. Capri, why are you getting upset that Robin isn't as dark as she was in the OG comics and like the older versions of One Piece, and now they made her white? I'm like, because I like the way she looked in the old version of One Piece. I just did. And also, you're telling me that she can't be black, because again, what about her character being black changes anything about the plot? Honestly, could work a little bit more. A black person trying to discover the hidden history that a government is trying to keep hidden. I don't know. It kind of fits a little bit better, don't it? Exactly. So that's what I'm genuinely upset about. Also, I'm genuinely upset about the fact that, like, if we're just talking about the anime, and I don't know why I keep calling it comics, I apologize about that, but like, if we're just talking about the anime itself, the fact that Usopp went from being like a decent tan A solid, that's not a white person. You see what I'm saying? And then he went from the newer versions from that to that's a white man now. And y'all go sit there, a white man with curly hair. Y'all gonna be like, yeah, he's black. Now, I'm grateful that the live action said, absolutely not, we're not doing this. I don't know. I genuinely would like them to just change some things around. Like, we could, Robin being black, again, doesn't change anything about the plot. Also, black people exist in Russia, because that's where she's from. Black people exist over there. I didn't say we exist in high amounts. I just said that we do exist over there. So she could be black. But it's not realistic to look at ViVi's character and be like, yeah, that should be a white woman. She would get, first of all, if ViVi actually existed with that light ass skin in Alabasta, wherever in Alabasta is, but like Alabasta's in the Middle East, where it's very, very hot, she wouldn't make it past the age of 13 because skin cancer would have ate her the fuck up. Her skin would not survive. She'd have to stay inside all the time. That's the only way you're going to make it believable. She never steps foot outside. She never goes outside, never does any of that stuff. That just doesn't make sense. And y'all getting upset about that really says more about y'all than it does about me. I'm fine with it. I'm fine with it. I genuinely thought we were all in agreement that, like, she should be brown because it was very clear that her character was not white. And you're getting upset, as I said, Oda is behind this. He's okay with it, so aren't you? Weirdos. Anyway, I'm done yelling.